welcome to my fourth podcast. I'm sitting in my dining room again, and yeah, I've covered up the mess on the workbench with a blanket and, you know, a nicely knitted colourwork jumper, just so you don't have to look at all the rubbish that I didn't have time to tidy up. Obviously a normal person wouldn't tell you that they've covered up mess with a blanket. They wouldn't draw your attention to this behind you, but yeah, that's not me, is it really? Just trying to hide my double chins so I could sit here like this the whole way through the podcast, but I think I'll get a sore throat, so apologies for the double chins. Whilst we're on apologies, I've tried to reposition the angle of the camera so that I don't peer at you over the top of my glasses, as apparently I was doing to my big sister with the last podcast. Apparently I scared the wits out of her. It's the side effect of being old and wearing bifocal glasses that I look down to see some things, look up to see others. My daughters tease me something rotten for looking at my phone like this, sort of trying to see through different parts of my glasses. They will learn. They will learn not to laugh at the elderly. I remember when I was first diagnosed as needing bifocals, or varifocals, my optician, I've always been short-sighted since I was about 9, I would think, and had those lovely NHS spectacles that were just so joyous. I even had upside down ones like the snooker player, thinking they were cool. They really weren't. But yes, so short-sighted since I was a child. So being long-sighted was a bit of a strange one to come to terms with. And I said to my lovely optician, I said, Simon, is it because I'm using so much small screen stuff? I'm spending so much time looking at a small screen. Is that why I can't see properly? And he said, no, Lucy. And I said, oh, right, okay. He said, it's because you were born in the 1970s. So I looked at him a bit sort of like this, probably squinting because I didn't have my glasses on at the time. I said, what do you mean? And he said, it's presbyopia, Lucy. You're getting old. Which meant, because he was a lovely, lovely man, we used to have lots of chat. So I started discussing with him whether presbyopia was linked to the word Presbyterian. And it turns out it is, because it's elderly. So basically he was telling me I had old eyes and suck it up, sister, kind of thing. Very cheeky. But yes, old eyes, because I was born in the 1970s. So you've got the bifocals. So I do apologise. I hope I've got the camera angle right and you don't have to have me peering school mom like over, I can't see a thing now, over the top of my glasses at you. All for my big sister. What a good little sister I am. So today, what I'm going to talk to you about, I'm going to talk to you about my little cotton rabbits, obviously, because there are lots of them happening. Lovely new yarn. I'm going to talk to you about Zowelballs, crazy Zowelball socks. I'm going to show you my Lictor mittens and talk to you about blocking. And I'm also going to talk to you about those of you that have joined the Golden Fern Cal. My yarn has finally arrived, so I can cast on too. I'm looking forward to being able to join you all in that, even though I know I'm not going to get a lot of time to knit. It's an interesting thing with having a wool shop. People would think, oh, she must just sit in the shop all day and knit. What a lovely job. I wish I could do that. I love knitting. My knitting productivity has decreased massively since I got the shop. I don't get time to knit. I don't get time to sew. I don't get time to crochet. There's somebody coming in, creaking the door. It's Thomas.
No.
I'm doing a video, Thomas. You're not allowed in here. Get out, bad boy. Okay. But yes, little cotton rabbits. Lots of them have been in production. And I'm going to talk to you about them first, because lovely Julie, who's a friend of mine, I have only met Julie once in real life. Many, many years ago, I organised a bloggers picnic in near Oxford, near where my sister used to live, and lots of lovely friends that I'd met through my blog came there to meet up, and we had an Easter egg hunt for the children, and it was just really nice. It was a chance to get together. My blog was a very important feature in my life. It really helped me with my mental health problems, because it was a world where suddenly I was achieving and being perceived as a success, whereas I personally felt like a failure all the time. So yeah, my blog was good, and the friendships I made have lasted. I've got friendships all over the world from my blog, and obviously now I have that extended through Instagram as well. But what I really like is how many of us blog friends are still together. So Mrs. Moog, who makes the most wonderful project bags, like this one, with her own hand-designed printed fabric. There's lovely Jo of French Notch Dough, who teaches classes in Manchester. There's Julie of Little Cotton Rabbits. There's I'm going to miss somebody. I'm going to be so upset when I realise I've missed somebody. There's lovely Susie from Dotty Red, and if you don't follow Dotty Red, you should. And my friends over in Australia, there's Annie of Flower Garden, and there's Jodie of Rick Rack. Just so many people, and I'm so sorry if I've not mentioned you. It doesn't mean I don't love you, it's just camera brain fog. So I arranged a bloggers meetup for Easter, and it was really good fun, and I met Julie for the first time, and we actually sat under a tree, and I said, Julie, I don't know how to do this I-cord you mentioned. And she said, Lucy, it's easy. It's just you do this, this and this. She said she really didn't like knitting on double pointed needles, and I had a sock with me, so I said, come on Julie, just try it out. So I always like to pretend that I'm the one that helped Julie, the amazing Julie of Little Cotton Rabbits, who can knit the most exquisite things. I helped her with her knitting because I got her knitting on double pointed needles. Apologies Julie, that's very arrogant of me to claim to have taught you anything, but it was just a nice memory of the two of us sitting under a tree teaching each other new techniques. So lovely Julie has brought out the badgers, and they're just truly adorable. It's difficult to catch their eyes because of the fact that you're embroidering onto a dark background, but this is Boy Badger, and he's borrowed some shorts from somebody. You'll have all seen the shenanigans going on in the shop last week when everybody was running amok and stealing each other's clothes. Poor little Miss Mouse still hasn't got her dress back, but I think she's sunbathing. So we've got Boy Badger here, and we've got Girl Badger. Now, several things I want to show you about Girl Badger. I did the eyes differently. I don't know if I can show you. I've given her a little black eye with a little white dot, whereas with the Boy Badger, I gave him a white eye with a little black dot. I think I prefer Boy Badger. But what I wanted to show you is several things, including a thing about colour work, because you know colour work's my favourite thing. This is my little dress for the Girl Badger. It's meant to be a red dress with a white detail, but I didn't have a lot of bread at home at the time, and I'm terrible at following rules, so I knitted a little white dress with red detail. But look, you can, oh, Isla thinks this is funny because he's got one of those traditional fat tummies with the trousers falling down. Look how different those two colour work designs look. You see? Now they are identical, they're charted identically, but because it's charted as a red chart with white stitches, right, white contrast, my brain automatically, when I was knitting the white with red dress, knitted red where red was and white where white was. So what you've got with my girl's dress is a complete reverse to what you should have. So if I show you this briefly here, that's the colour work chart, and I knitted, as I say, red where it said red and white where it said white, because that's what our brains do. And if I pull it down, you can see more of the sort of detail. But the reason I wanted to show you that is because it shows how much just little tweaks within colour work can create completely unique effects. I'm going to have to take my scarf off because I've been freezing cold. It is freezing cold outside. So lovely Mr. Locket has lit the fire. We've got the heating on full blast. I've got my shawl on, all quite normal. But I'm talking to you guys and I'm getting hot. So off goes the shawl. And I will come back to this because a lot of you have asked me about it since the last podcast. Oh, I feel a bit undressed now. The other thing I wanted to show you about my little badger girl is I used the shoe pattern from Julie's separate little shoe booklet. I've always said, because I knit samples for the shop and I want to do different colourways of clothing and show you things, I always knit the boys because boys have plain feet, whereas on the traditional girl patterns they always had knitted on shoes or tights or socks. You see there? And the little piggy girl has little socks and shoes. But I've always knitted the boys because with the boys' feet, this way, it means you can change their clothing and they can be anything. So I always say, knit a boy and you can dress him whichever way you like in whichever colours. Whereas a little girl with inbuilt red shoes, you can't really dress in a pale yellow dress. You can, but it's not going to give you the look. So I was delighted when Julie brought out her pattern with all the different shoe designs on it. You see? And bless her, she's actually included the feet for the boy. So if you've always bought girl patterns, you can actually now, with this little supplementary book, you've got how to knit boy feet. So these are her little shoes. They were sweet to knit. I made them very simple, but here we go. A little tiny Mary Jane shoe. Very sweet, beautifully described technique, how to knit it. And I just think a really lovely little accessory. So this makes me very happy because now I can just keep knitting boys, which means they've got easy feet. And when I want to tell you guys that I've knitted both, when I haven't, I can niftily change their clothing around. So I have to admit I only have one pig, but I did want to have both badgers. I think there might have to be a cute Valentine's photo with these two on Sunday. So the other thing is Julie also brought out a lovely pattern for scarves. This is it's a free pattern. I'm charging £1 just for the printing of it into a booklet, just so you can have a nice little library of all your little cotton rabbit patterns, like this. Here's some I collected earlier. Sorry, but low battery. So this is a little scarf. This particular design is meant to be knitted in lace weight, but I wanted it to be red because she looks a bit bland in her white dress. But my lovely Penny knitted this for me, and you can see it's a beautiful, oopsie, can't really see it on there, lovely lacy pattern that on Julie's design she knits in, no, can't show you it, Julie knits it in a lovely brushed mohair lace, which I will also do because I want to have little lacy fluffy skirts. But there it is, very pretty design. So poor little badger only has one shoe on, no scarf. But the thing I loved most of all was knitting this. Are you ready? A little diddy little basket. Oh, the focus is bad and it's not quite, it's not perfect, but look at that. So little badger has a little basket in which to collect acorns or mini eggs. So I'm very excited to do some photos for Valentine's Day and for Easter with Miss Badger and her basket. And that's from this little supplementary pattern. And I'm also knitting, can you see the backpack in the blue at the bottom? I'm knitting her a little red backpack here. So Very cute. And I don't know if I've shown you, this is my new little boy bunny. In Julie's bunny patterns, they have lots of different face shape markings that you can knit. You can knit Dutch bunnies, you can knit one with a big patch, or you can knit one with just a little eye patch. And he's very cute. And he's stolen clothes. He's stolen the dungaree pattern. Dungarees from somebody, and that's a little separate pattern. And he's stolen a little yellow cable jumper from the seasonal jumpers pattern. So he's quite happy with himself. And then we have the piggies. She's very cute. She's very pink. I think that's fine, but I might also dye some hand dyed double knit to make some more subtle pinks for those of you that like a sort of a quieter looking animal. But the lovely thing with Julie's dungaree patterns is they have these little mini animals, little pets in the pockets, and that's included in the pattern for the dungarees. So sorry, that's lots of selling and showing you, but I just think Julie's patterns sell themselves. The reason I booklet print them is that the animal patterns are 18 pages long, so by me getting them printed as a booklet, it's a lot easier, a lot less ink for you to use up, but every single detail is explained. Julie's incredible. I cannot fault her patterns, and she really explains all the detail that turns a knitted toy, just basic knitted toy, into a knitted character with a really cute little face and a personality, and that's what I love about them. The yarn I'm now using is from New Lanark, and it's lovely proper woolly sheepy wool. It's not baby soft. You can see it's got quite a lot of fluff to it, quite a lot of texture. I know that might put some people off, but I think it lends to itself to real character in the toys, and they're going to be tough. They're going to be well hard wearing, nice little toys. The clothing is made from my hand dyed yarn, and that's machine washable merino nylon, but the bodies are hand wash only in a very lovely pure wool. And it's lovely to be supporting New Lanark. It's a heritage site that where they've restored the mill, I believe, and it's produced in Scotland. So I'm very happy now to be stocking a yarn from the United Kingdom, and I hope you'll like it too. I'm going to pause now because my batteries run really low. I'm going to put it on to charge, and I will come back with some of the other things I want to show you. Okay, bye for now. Hello again. A whole other day away, a whole other outfit. I know you're going to ask me about this jumper, so I will tell you about it. It's got a bit of a story. So I wanted to talk, I've talked about my little cotton rabbits, and I've tidied up behind me so there's no blankets covering things, which is preferable. There's some clobber over in that corner, but never mind. So I wanted to talk to you about different things. So my wool arrived for my golden fern sweater. Lots of you have been knitting the golden fern in the our Locket's golden fern cowl. Some of you have whizzed ahead and done the bodies and are onto the sleeves, and I'm extremely jealous. I haven't. Haven't even cast on. This is the colour that I'm going to use for my mane. Lotta's already still on the label and scrumbled it up a bit. This is Jameson & Smith FC34, and it is one of my favourites, and it goes really well with yellow. I will say it goes extraordinarily well with yellow, but there's another theme coming. This is the combination that I'm going to go for, so like that, which is, you know, big departure for me. I know I'm wearing pink now, but this wasn't knitted for me originally. I think that's going to be pretty. I may change my mind. I may lose that one. Well, yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at the moment, and I'm lucky because if I decide I don't like it, I can change part way. So that's what my mood is at the moment. And it all ties in with a very special something I'm planning for later in the month, maybe, or the beginning of next month, which I will give you a little more of a hint of towards the end of this podcast, but for now it's still secret. But this has a connection. I also wanted to talk to you about Zauber balls. Now, since yesterday, when I started recording this, I've now got a double reason to talk to you about Zauber balls. The first is my totally unfinished Jan's Twist Again sock. If you can see the design on there. This is designed by my lovely friend Jan, who's on Instagram as Lids Jan, and she's very clever and makes lovely sock patterns. It's a mock cable, so it's super easy to do, and this is the lovely colour combination I'm doing it in, which unfortunately I can't get this particular yarn colourway at the moment, but I'm hoping it will come back in stock soon. Jan's pattern's lovely. It's a mock cable. I love the look of cables and I do like knitting them, but I tend to get frustrated if my knitting can't flow. I'm much happier doing colour work where I can make the flow of the chop change, chop change, chop change of the colours, whereas actually having to stop, pick up another needle, move stitches, then knit them, it doesn't, I think because I don't get much time to knit, so I find it frustrating. So this mock cable is perfect. And my sister's come up with a very clever tip. She's knitted a pair. You'll have picked up that I've got a big sister, Ali. We tend to spend most of the time being rude to each other, as all good sisters do. Yeah, it's sometimes I don't think everyone else around us finds it as funny as we do, but most of our conversations on the phone end up with, "See, I wouldn't want to be you, bye." It just makes us laugh every time, unless she's just humouring me, but she's never humoured me before, so I think it does make her laugh too. So Ali's come up with a top tip that if you knit this on 4 needles, 5 needles, I tend to knit my socks on 4 needles, so 3 active needles on the knitting and 1 to work with. I've got it set on 4 at the moment, but if Ali says if you knit it on 4 needles on the knitting and 1 to knit with, a 5th one, and make the 5th one odd, you will remember every time you need to make the twist, because the repeat is every 5th row. I think I'm right. I'm sure Ali will tell me I've got it wrong, but that was quite a clever little tip. Didn't know she was so clever. So these are my lovely Twist Again socks in the Crazy Zauber wool. But since I talked to you the other day, I watched my lovely friends Marie and Dominique of Wool is the Answer do their podcast, and Dominique had bought some of my Zauber balls earlier in the week, and they were doing a live podcast on Friday afternoon, and Dominique was showing off her Zauber balls, and someone mentioned the zigzag scarf by, written down, Christy Cam, which is a free download on Ravelry. Now this is something I've been intending to do as a knit along for quite a long time, and just hadn't sort of scheduled it yet. But the way these things go, the girls on Wool is the Answer were talking about it, and by the end of the afternoon they'd formed a cal over on their Ravelry page. So I've been chatting to Marie and Dominique today, and we've come up with a special discount code from my website of WITAZZ, Wool is the Answer zigzag, that gets you 10% off buying Zauber balls, Crazy Zauber balls from me. And I've put some colour combinations together that I think go really nicely. So it's this one. Oopsie, show you without the tags. Because with the zigzag scarf, it's a very simple 2-row repeat, and you just alternate the colours every 2nd row. So the beauty of the Zauber balls is they change so much. So if you've got 2 changing at the same time, it gives a really striking effect. So I thought those 2 are lovely. And then, nope, wrong 2. I thought these two went well together. You've got the same sort of little bit of yellowy green in them both. And then these two are much paler. I thought that would make a really beautiful scarf. You've got the hot hit of the pink and the turquoise. And then the beauty of these yarns is the deeper you dig into them, the more colour changes there are. And then this is the one I don't want to sell because my daughter Penny has said she'll knit me one. And this is what I want to knit it in, which is indigo and, oh, can't remember what this one means. It means something like change of seasons or something. But that was a combination I would like. And I've ordered, I think, another 30 odd Zawables to come next week, hopefully. So there's lots to choose from. So if you go to Ravelry and join the thread on the Wool is the Answer forum, and if you follow Marie and Dominique of Wool is the Answer, they're so lovely. Many of you may have met them when they were exhibiting at Woolness in 2019, or you may have met them at other shows. They're just lovely, really lovely. So we're doing this little knit along together. I've sort of jumped on what they're doing, but be fun, the more the merrier. So that was my Zaubable section. So moving on, the other thing I wanted to show you is I finally finished my second Lictor mitten sample, and this is the Sea Thrift colourway. It's not really coming up very well on the camera. It's covered in, you know, I use wool stuffing for all my kits. It does stick to things, but it's so pretty. And I've knitted this one in the larger size because I tend to like a slightly looser glove. Oh, I think I made a mistake on the thumb there. Oh, can you see? I've made a mistake just about here. It's gone wrong. This is the one that Penny knitted for me in the more traditional turquoise and red, and she didn't make a mistake on the thumb because she's a clever girl. But so this is the smaller size, but it's just I need a little bit more wriggle for my fingers. And this is the larger size. I'll put them both on actually. Just a very cleverly knitted a pair of non-matching mittens. So I do think I like that combination better, but I love the subtlety of this too. And it's actually the same colour as this jumper, which I will come back to. And I've had a few of you asking me about how your cuff looks very loose and your colour work very tight. This is where blocking really comes in and really helps. I have a very, very posh blocking board for my mittens. Can you hear it? It's a bit of cardboard, probably a bit of a delivery box, Amazon probably, that I've wrapped in plastic, cut roughly to the shape of my hand, and I wrapped the thumb bit in some cling film. And what I did was stuffed it inside the wet, well, damp glove, which is why it's in the plastic bag, to stop it just disintegrating. So I'm just trying to manipulate it back in again. So I stuffed it in, and then I pulled my cuff down quite a lot so that didn't stretch, but the glove did. And then I just sat it on top of the radiator to dry. And I also, whoops, put the thumb in the thumb. But I love these. Now that my big delivery of Jameson and Smith has arrived, I'll be putting more kits on the website next week, which will keep you all supplied. Likewise, the big shawl that I was wearing yesterday, that is my own design, and I've rebranded it. It's Locket's favourite scarf, because it is Locket's favourite shawl. In fact, it is my favourite. It's knitted with Jameson and Smith held double with mohair and silk. It's incredibly warm and snuggly, and it's just like a best friend kind of shawl. I have got I think I can make a couple of kits, but I need to order yet more Jameson and Smith because I've missed a colour, but they will be coming on the website soon. And it's a lovely sort of asymmetric triangle kite shawl really, but it's very, very easy, just with knit two togethers and some yarn overs and some other decreases, but there's nothing sort of clever about it because I wrote it. So it's quite an easy, accessible pattern to knit. This jumper, which is very, very pretty, I didn't knit it. This has a story. This was my very first knit along, and it's the Birkin sweater, and it was the front cover of one of the first Lena magazines, and it's beautiful. It's the most incredible design, but it was awful because it didn't fit anybody in my knit along. They all spent hours and hours knitting it, and it really just didn't fit, which was really embarrassing because, as I say, it was my first knit along as a business, and I only got as far as the colour work. This was my daughter Penny's, and this was knitted for a size 12, which I am not, but because we sort of blocked it and stretched it, it fits me, but it wouldn't work on Penny because if she lifted her arms up, this bit would come up over her head, and it's such a shame because it's beautiful and it's very warm and lovely, so I do enjoy wearing it even though it's not my natural colour choice. But yes, I do love Birkin for how it looks. It was just such a shame that the design, I think just across the shoulders, it just didn't seem to fit people. I'm always delighted when I see people who have made it and it has fitted and they are happy, but it didn't fit any of us, which was really disappointing. So another thing that's coming into my shop in the coming days, you'll often see me talking about Isla's Pottery. It's my daughter Isla, who's doing ceramics at Sunderland University, and I love her mugs. They're very rustic, very tactile and beautiful, and I persuaded her to let me put some in the shop. So she's been photographing them. I've tried to squeeze some descriptive words out from her for them, which was a challenge, but I might include some of the little videos she's done of each mug. I'll just show you, just so you get an idea of the scale. They're like sort of like cup shape. This one's beautiful because it has a lovely grooved texture. This one's a hand-built one that she's deliberately built so it's not perfectly symmetric compared to one of her throne cups that is beautifully symmetrical. This one isn't, and I think we've got about 6 going up on the website, which I just love them. I'm going to keep encouraging her to keep making more, and please don't buy them because I want to keep them all, okay? Don't tell Ida I told you that. So the other thing I have been hinting at, not very subtly, is my secret plan that's coming up for later this month, maybe the beginning of next month. And here are your clues. We have a teeny tiny little carrot stitch marker, a little seedling in a pot, a tiny little trowel, and really cute, a miniature watering can. So I think you can probably guess the theme, but this is going to be multidisciplinary, as they say at sort of posh meetings. It's going to cover knitting and sewing and crochet, and I hope you're going to really like it. It was inspired purely by chance by a bolt of fabric, and that's all I'm going to tell you. So secrets until all is revealed later this month or beginning of March, and that's where I'm going to stop for now. You've got a lot of video to watch this week, because I missed last week to give you a break, I would say. So I hope you all stay with me and watch to the end. It's great if you can subscribe. I love getting the comments. I haven't replied to every single one yet, but it's all just, for me, it's all about building community, This is me sitting at my kitchen table in my home, hopefully reaching out to you in your homes and just bringing a bit of the usual Locket friendliness and madness and creativity. Take care everyone, bye! Okay, so today I'm going to show you a new game with Tom that Tom's girlfriend Nicola taught us. Nicola's from Poland, and I did ask her if it had a Polish name, but they call it dice. So we call it Polish dice because it's new to us. So we're going to show you how to play Polish dice. We won't play the whole game. Well, we might, and then we'll just speed it up. But basically, this is the scorecard. You have to get 3 of a kind of each number to get through school. Now, if you fail school, you lose 100 points. So you really mustn't, you can't afford to fail school. And then I've called it going to uni, it's not called that in the game. You can play school and uni at the same time. You can be clever and be at both places at once. But if you fail school, you do get the big 100-point penalty. So you have a pair, 2 pairs, a triple, a small straight will give you 15 points. A small straight is numbers 1 to 5. A big straight is numbers 2 to 6. And then you have full house, which is a 2 and a 3, 4 of a kind, 5 of a kind, so traditionally Yahtzee, and a spare is when you've messed up your throw, you haven't got any of the sets, anything you want, but you don't want to lose points, and so you put the spare. You just add up the total of your dice in that throw, but you can only use it once. The aim is obviously to get the highest score. You get 3 rolls of the dice. If you throw a triple or a small straight or a big straight or a full house or 4 of a kind or 5 of a kind, in your first throw, it doubles. So I'm going to show you, we're going to play it and see how we go. Okay, Tom, you go first. Okay, so Tom's thrown a double straight away, but he's also got 1, 3, 4 and 5. So if he rethrows that 5 and got a 2, that would be his small straight. But he might decide he wants to get school first, in which case he'll keep throwing 5s. So yep, that's what he's going to do. He's going to keep throwing 5s and see if he can get plenty of 5s. So not that time. No. So he's got a pair. And so a pair of 5s is a good score because it adds up to 10. The highest pair you can get is obviously 12. So I've got there in first throw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got my small straight immediately, so that gives me double 15, so I get 30. So I'm obviously going to have that, and the game passes to Tom again. So I've got 2 4s there. I'm going to go for those for school. So I've got 4. So I could use that as my 4 of a kind. I may, but at the moment I think I'm just going to try and get them to school. Oh, 5 of a kind. Yeah, I'm going to go for my Yahtzee. So that is 50 plus 20. So I've got 70 points. So with the 5 of a kind, you get 50 for getting it, and then it's the score of the dice adding up. Oh, Tom got full house on his first throw. So he got 2 3s and 3 4s, which means he can double that. So it's probably worth him doing that. And this is where Tom's brain has to work on doing the maths. So he got 36 for that throw. I've just got a short straight again on my first throw. which would have got me 30 if I hadn't already got it. I can't do this. I'm thinking about how you're seeing this through the camera. So I'm trying to make it work. I can get a 6, nope. Yeah, so that gets me my 20 for my big straight. I'll have that. They're quite difficult to get. So I thought it might be quite a fun game to show children to help with their maths, if you're homeschooling. I'm so grateful that I'm at the point where, oh wow Tom, I don't have to homeschool. So Tom got 4 6s, he needs 3 6s for school, but it means he's got a +6 in the bank. So I got 3 5s, triple. Can I double a triple? I can. So I'm going to have 30 for that one, because that was my first throw. So I've got nothing in school at the moment, which is a bit risky. So Tom's pursuing getting through school, passing his GCSEs and getting the qualifications he needs to graduate. So Tom didn't get his, put them together, didn't get his 5s for school. He can't risk putting them as a -5 because he's already used half of his +6. So what he's done is he's added them together, got 22 and put that in his spare. So Tom has decided he's going to sacrifice a small straight because the most you can get for that is 15, and so he's lost 1 slot of the game. And again, I failed. So Tom thinks that's very funny. Thank you, Thomas. I'm going to add that to make that a spare. So this is where my maths isn't very good. So I've put them together. 18, 22, like Tom had. Yeah. What am I after? 3s. Phew. 5 of a kind. That was good. Okay. So I've completed school and I've actually got +14 in school, which I've never had before. I need a full house, so I've got to throw a 1 or a 2 on my next 2 goes. Yes! Very poor adding full house, but I get 7. But at least I didn't get a minus. So now I've got to do my maths and I can't do this. I can't do it, Thomas. 219. I probably haven't got that right, but that means I've completely whooped Tom, who only got 132. Loser.